Shivoham, 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 Shivoham. Shivoham, Shivoham. Shivoham, Shivoham. Shivoham, 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 Shivoham. Shivoham, 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 Shivoham. Shivoham, 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 Shivoham.
Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayutha Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadhye. Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam for another day in practicing the Yogic Kriyas. We shall do this session in a kind of meditative fashion. In other words, I will try and keep my explanations to the bare minimum. So we simply focus on the practice and enjoy the bliss of being tuned into the breath. For those of you who have just joined in, you may want to refer to my previous classes where we have taken ample time to explain each of these. This is for the benefit of every one of you who have been regular. Let's slowly begin the actual practice, tuning into the breath and performing the Kriyas in a semi-meditative mood. Sit up tall and straight, allow your mind to get mindful. For the next 25 minutes or so, let it be focused entirely on the breath. Let's begin with the Omkara Kriya. Inhale. As you exhale, ho. Perform the Lagu Udiyana. Make up your mind to keep this bandha in place throughout. Inhale. Inhale, come up. Activate the Ujjayi breath. Listen to the sound. Reverentially receive the Vayu into the body with every inhalation. Inhale. Let's go. Mindful breathing. Engage the chest. Expand and contract the chest. Bandha in place. Ujjayi breath in place. Listen to the sound of the breath. Kaka Shuddhi Kriya. Powerful exhalation. Carry on that exhalation till you can exhale no more, and then come up 5 times. Sit up tall and straight. Inhale. When you're ready, let's go. Inhale. 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 Let's go. Inhale, come up. Bandha in place throughout. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Inhale. Inhale, come on. Every breath mindfully receive the divine Vayu. Lengthen your exhalations mindfully, allowing the toxins to go out of the body. One last one. Inhale. Now that we have activated the prana gently, let's activate the Agni with the Agnisara. So it pushes the prana up and maintains it in the chest region. Do this 3 times. Inhale. Exhale. Once you're done exhaling, begin. Inhale. Sit up tall and straight. Allow the universe around you to slow down. The senses slow down. Impulses in the brain slow down. Inhale. Exhale fully. Lengthen the spine, sit up tall and straight. Listen to the breath, observe the internal rhythms of the pulse, the breath, the thought. Inhale. Exhale fully. Inhale and exhale. Once again, apply the bandha. Markata Kriyas. Let's distribute this prana throughout the body. 5 rounds. Let's begin. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Listen to the rhythm of the breath. Inhale. Exhale. This is like a slow meditative dance. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Slow dance of Shiva. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Stomach pulled in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One last one. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Few rounds of mindful breath. The bandha firmly in place. Ujjayi breath active. Pranayama Kriya, Pranayamasana. Sit in Bhajarasana. Perform the Brahma Mudra. Thumb, fingers, either side of your belly button. Inhale. As you exhale, press the stomach in. Empty the stomach. Long, deep breaths. Engage the side of the lungs, the back of the lungs. Inhale, come up. Exhale. Sit back. You can sit in the lotus pose of the Bhastrika Kriya. You can also do this standing. I'll demonstrate this another day. Stomach will be in. All action takes place in the chest. 4 rounds. First round will be 10 times. When you're ready, let's begin. Listen to the body. Feel the body feeling light. Observe the sense of exhilaration. The second round, 15. Do as many as you can, but not more than 15. When you're ready, let's begin. Receive every inhalation like you receive a divine being into your body, into your temple. Allow Vayu to cleanse and exhale fully, helping him carry all the toxins out. As you fill the lungs, stomach goes in and stays here. Third round, 15. 10. Let's do 10. We'll do last 115. 10 rounds. Do as many as you can, not more than 10. Let's go. Listen to the words of Vayu. The breath speaks to you. Listen. Slowly the language will become clear. The language of the heart. Listen. The last round, 15 times. Do as many as you can, but not more than 15. Apply the bandha. When you're ready, let's go. Long exhalations. prepare you mentally to do the Ramanaam Pranayama, most beautiful, peaceful pranayama. We are still learning it. We are now practicing with the right nostril, the Surya Nadi. The Rama energy is active. The left hand forms the Kamala Kriya. And you inhale, open. Exhale, close. Right hand. Get into position, close the left nostril. Focus on the ratio of the breath. Focus on the volume of air that comes in and goes out. Focus on the sound and the rhythm and the smoothness in the flow. And allow the Ramanaam to slowly settle into your consciousness. And in consciousness, we all connect and become one. In that oneness, we draw sustenance, energy, spirituality, vitality from the divine name Ram. Let's begin the Ramanaam Pranayama.
Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Ram Ram Ram, Ram Ram Ram. Inhale. Ram Ram Ram. Exhale. Ram Ram Ram, Ram Ram Ram. Inhale. Ram Ram Ram. Exhale. Ram Ram Ram, Ram Ram Ram. Inhale. Ram Ram Ram. Exhale. Ram Ram Ram, Ram Ram Ram. Inhale. Ram Ram Ram. Exhale. Ram Ram Ram, Ram Ram Ram. Inhale. Ram Ram Ram. Exhale. Ram Ram.
साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने। परम पावना तारक नामा श्री रामा श्री रामा श्री रामा श्री रामा श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम श्री राम। श्री राम जय राम जय जय 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 राम। जगदाश्रय श्री रघुरामा जगदाश्रय श्री रघुरामा जगदोद्धारा सीतारामा
Namaste and welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam for another delightful, meditative, contemplative learning of the divine principles in spiritual evolution, in God realization that is taught to us in so many different ways by the ancient seers of the Vedantic times. We are now studying the epic Ramayana, and in that, the fifth chapter, if you will, the fifth part, Sundarakand, that is devoted to Hanuman's search for Sita. So Hanuman, at this moment, as we have studied in so many days, and we have come now to chapter 18, where Hanuman is sitting, waiting, looking down at Sita, admiring her beauty, admiring the divinity that surrounds her. The demons around Sita didn't see her divinity. Ravana certainly didn't see her divinity. But Hanuman did. And he's lost in that. The discovery, the darshan, if you will, of that beautiful divine being seated under that tree. And he's aware of the pang and the sadness because of the separation. He understands the importance of the Purusha and Prakriti that need to meet. He understands the importance of the oneness and how anything that's devoid of oneness always creates an element of pain and suffering. And so it is with our lives. And so let us see what we have to learn today from this beautiful chapter. This chapter too has 32 verses, and I thought I'll summarize all of them in today's class. It is very interesting to note how Valmiki describes dawn. He says, now that, Hanuman waited for the sunset to enter Lanka, right? And in the darkness of the night, that is how you enter deep into the chitta. You can't enter with a conscious mind. We discussed all that. So he comes, now there is slowly the dawn happens over the horizon. There is an awakening taking place. So this dawn is the awakening that is symbolized. Nevertheless, it's very interesting to note how Valmiki describes the dawn in Lanka. Because from what we have popularly heard, these kind of scriptures are not explained in detail, so many of you may have missed it. What is popularly heard is Lanka is full of rakshasas and demons and she-demons and all of these evil spirits and evil beings, and nothing good goes on. That is our understanding. But we have kind of moved away from that, right? We have seen a lot of good things also in Lanka, Sita especially. The best among, the jewel among all goodness, if you will, resides in Lanka. But here is an interesting fact. Valmiki describes dawn. He says, as dawn approaches, the sounds of Vedic recitations and auspicious music begins to fill the air all around. Hanuman begins to listen and he says, oh, it's time to dawn, time for dawn. Now, isn't that surprising? One might not expect that in Lanka. Wait a minute, isn't that full of demons and rakshasas? Where is the time for Vedic music and auspicious music? But that's the beauty. Remember what we talked about as we understood these demonic these are tendencies. And Rakshasa, Ravana himself is Mamakara, the mindness. This belongs to me. I want this to belong to me. That's why he said, Sita is beautiful, so she must belong to me. You can admire beauty for all its worth, but you don't have to bring you into the picture at all in that admiration. When you come into the picture, then a sense of belongingness begins to happen, and then you want that, whatever that is, to be yours. That music should be mine. That painting should be mine. That person should be mine. That object should be mine, and so on. And that is why Ravana builds this. But other than that mamakara and these other tendencies which are just sensual indulgences, the other things still prevail. Look at our lives. Many of us go to temples, many of us listen to chants, many of us sing bhajans, but it doesn't mean we are completely God realized. We are caught in, and I say we, all of us, please assume that I am preaching from a pulpit. I am a fellow pilgrim, and this satsangs of these nature we learn together. And so we are also caught in the I and mine. oh, my sadhana, how long should I do this? How much more should I practice? Why is God testing me? Or why am I not able to experience God? All the I, me, and mine is always in the background, always in our thoughts, right? We don't even know what is existence without the I or the mind. And so where is Ravana? He is very much there. Where are Vedic recitations, bhajans, chanting, going to temples, all of that is also within us. So you and I who are in Lanka are doing all this. And therefore when Valmiki says there were Vedic recitations, auspicious music, let us not get surprised, because this is what you and I experience. Because for us these become rituals. As long as we don't give up the I-ness and the my-ness. And it's not a conscious effort. That will come when we discover Sita. And when Rama comes and takes Sita, then we realize, my God, the doer is Rama and Sita, and we are just observers. We just have to observe the Leela. And the joy of being a nobody is phenomenal, right? It perhaps comes momentarily to all of us. I'm sure we all experience that momentarily here and there, a sense of high bliss and a wonderful feeling of elation when you lose your sense of littleness and you begin to embrace everyone, everybody with love. And that slowly diminishes back. So we do get those kind of glimpses. But then when you get the darshan of Sita, when she awakens within, it's very different. And so in Lanka, Vedic recitations are therefore not a surprise. What kind of Vedic recitations? And all of the kinds of Vedic recitations happen. Vedic recitations, Vedic rituals, Vedic pujas, Vedic learning, everything happens early in the morning. So he says Shadanga Veda. Shadanga means 6 Angas of the Vedas. Vedanga, the essence of Vedas, apart from its main body, there's also 6 other bodies of Vedas that you study. It's called Angas. So what are the 6 Angas? One is called the Shiksha. Shiksha is the phonetics, how to pronounce. How to say these words, sa and sha and sh and ba and bha and so on, right? It's not easy, correct? You see how many mistakes I make while chanting, so it's not easy. So we are learning. So Siksha is one part of Vedanga. They teach you exactly how to pronounce, because this language is filled with divine mantra. So when we chant it properly, you're able to activate that sound energy, the combination of different sound energies. So each one is a world by itself, so I'm not going into too much of detail. Then comes the Vyakarana. Vyakarana is grammar. How do you join 2 words? And how does 2 words become one? Like Om is Akara, Ukara and Makara. There are 3 letters joined together. It becomes almost a single syllable called Om. Correct? So like this, there is grammar. For each of the sounds that emanate in Sanskrit, there is a reason, a logic, a science behind that. Okay, so that is studied in Vyakarana. Because even in English or any language generally, there are certain rules. But rules also have exceptions, correct? And therefore it is like that. So just like say BUT is but PUT is not but, it is put. So why is the U spelled as A there and why is the U spelled as U here? So there are certain exceptions, there are certain rules in that language. In Sanskrit, it is far more complicated because the number of alphabets is so many more letters. Okay, so that is that part. Then comes the Chandas, the meter in which it is chanted. So you have the Gayatri Chandas, you have the Anushtup Chandas, you have various meters. So the Gayatri mantra itself is chanted in a particular meter. So that's why it's called the Gayatri meter, because that is the meter in which the mantra is chanted. Like this. So the meter is called Chandas, right? Nirukta is etymology. Etymology is, suppose we say the word Sita. Where does the Sita come from? What does it mean? What is the root of the Sita word? And so on, right? One of the petals in Mooladhara is Sa. Sa starts from Sa, Sa, Sh. All of that starts in Mooladhara. So there are ways to explain each word in Sanskrit to see where does this originate from. Ra for Ram, Ram as an Agni element. In the pit of the stomach, the Samana Vayu is Agni element. So you have Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Hum, Om, like that, different sounds, right? So what are these sounds? Where do they come from? What is the root? These are just sounds. I'm talking. Then you go to the words. Every word that we have tried to analyze some of the words that Valmiki mentioned, not from the etymological point of view, but there's an etymology. There is a whole science there. a study there, if you will. And then comes kalpa, the rituals that is prescribed in the Vedic literature. Rituals are when a baby is born, what is the kind of rituals that is done for the baby? When should be the ears be pierced? It all follows. There is a science in that madness. Okay, we have kind of lost that science and we have come down to religious beliefs. And because these have existed since thousands of years, it has kind of branched into different types and different forms and different belief systems, and that's kind of got diluted to some extent. So it's not easy, it's not black and white. And therefore we have to study it with great diligence. Okay, but there are many rituals. Why am I saying this? Because in the northern India you have different sets of rituals. In South India, different sets of rituals. In South itself, there are 3 or 4 sects, each one practicing on its own. So there are many rituals according to different traditions that have kind of, but the essence is still the same. They're not very different. The essence is still the same. The mantras are still the same. Perhaps the way you chant it is different, and so on. So when a baby is born, when should the baby be named? When should the baby be fed, right? So from that you have all the 6 stages of development in life. For ages, there are rituals, right? When the child reaches adolescence, when puberty, the child gets married. Well, you're no longer a child. When the marriage done, what is the marriage rituals? And then what are the rituals for having a baby, for conceiving a baby, and then so on. It goes on till the final death rituals. So those are all kalpas mentioned in the kalpa. Jyotisha is again a whole science based on time management. How to manage time? How do we base our timings with the timing of the cosmos? When do you start a business? When do you don't start a business? When do you start studying? When you don't start studying? How can you do this? How can you do that? When can you start a good work? When you can't start? So things like that. So there is a whole the scope of study there based on the planets that surround us, based on their movements, based on their electromagnetic energies, the combinations of that, which influence our psyche and our, not only our health, but our psyche, the way we think and everything. So all this is not to make you, Jyotisha, especially Vedic astrology, is not to make you feel you're a victim of some planets sitting there and deciding what you're going to be. Not at all. We don't know it, so we feel victimized. But when you understand, unfortunately, we have lost all this education, right? We have gone into a different mode of education where it is all I, me, and mine, unfortunately. So we kind of broken the whole paradigm of true holistic education. So in astronomy, Vedic astronomy, the education is for you to realize that you never take decisions in isolation. You always have to take it in the holistic understanding. Where is the moon? How is the sun? Where is all these planets and so on? It's a very interesting science. So you have these 6 Vedanga. All of these are in practice in Lanka. Imagine, in Lanka, all of this are in practice. Okay, so beautifully Valmiki brings that out. And so now Ravana wakes up. Valmiki talks about Ravana now. Ravana wakes up to this divine sounds of Vedic chant. He's a king after all, right? So his palace must be designed in such a way that he wakes up to this. So you and I, that's why I said you and I, we wake up. We love bhajans, we love kirtans, we love Vedic chants, we love spiritual practices, we'll do all of that. But there is still a powerful Ravana within us because the minus is not gone. So what happens here? Ravana wakes up listening to Vedic chants and music and all of that. He's wearing is still shining in his armor, in his ornaments. He sleeps with all of that. He's a king. So he never gives all that up. In other words, we sleep with all our possessions safe. We lock the door and make sure everything is safe, and then we go to sleep. So Ravana also sleeps with all of his jewels on him. That is how Valmiki describes it, and we have to understand that. And so, but when he wakes up, what is the first thought in his mind? Excuse me. When he wakes up, is he saying, oh, beautiful Vedic chants and lovely auspicious music, let me meditate? No, he wakes up, his mind is obsessed with the physicality of Sita. And so he wakes up and says, Sita, wow, I need to go and see her. I need to go and see her. I want to see her. I want to impress her. I want her to change her mind. I want her. So that obsession immediately comes. Okay? Ravana. You see, you might say, why can't this be interpreted as devotion? There is a big difference. Baba would say there are two types of devotion. One is when you say God is mine, and the other type of devotion when you say I belong to God. Two types of devotion. And he would give an example of the Mahabharata times, the story of Krishna and the life of Krishna. He would say the Yadavas, the ones who families, relations of Krishna, the Yadavas, they grew very, very proud that Krishna was their king. And so they said Krishna belonged to their clan. Krishna was theirs. It was a different devotion, but that was that. The other one, the Gopikas of Vrindavan, the little cowherds, and so on, the Gopis and the Gopikas, they said, we belong to Krishna. We belong to Krishna. So Bhagwan Baba explains this beautifully in the Vahinis. Mamaivatvam, Tamaivaham, and so on. It's a very beautiful explanation. But one has to understand that when we belong to the divine, then there is no personal agenda there. There is no what I want in it, or there's no what am I going to get out of that. Nothing. The I itself belongs to him. So the I belongs, in other words, you let the divine begin to function through you. And let that happen. But what happens if something goes wrong? That's the problem. We don't know how to trust the divine. Let it go. This wrong and right is all based on our ridiculous ideas of how life should be, right? If I lose my house tomorrow, if I lose my body tomorrow, let it be. Accept. Let it go with the flow. But we say, no. I don't want to surrender. I don't want to get into all that. I just want to hold on. As if we can somehow prevent this, right? But it is an illusion we cling on to because we have not learned the idea of letting go. So Ravana is obsessed with Sita because he wants to possess that divine energy, because he's not seeing the divinity. He's seeing a physical beauty there. He's seeing a different kind of attraction. One could term it as a devotion because he was also contemplating on Rama constantly. Rama and Sita were in his mind, right? One could, in some terms, understand that as one kind of devotion, but that didn't get him anywhere, right? Because it was I should get rid of this guy and I should get her into. I was more important than Rama and Sita. Ravana was more important. Ravana was the center of attraction. The divinities became to the side. If there was a group picture of Rama, Sita and Ravana, Ravana would prefer to stand right in the middle and have Rama and Sita on either side. So that was what Ravana's approach is. And therefore it is not considered devotion in the strictest sense. Devotion is where the I begins to slowly merge. That is what is in wisdom as well. The more we learn, the more we meditate, the I begins to merge. Because we become aware of a bigger I. That's why the little I goes away. So Ravana, at this moment in the story, his mind is obsessed with Sita, and so he goes to Ashokavana. He says, let me go. First thing in the morning, I want to go. How does he go to Ashokavana? He adorns himself with ornaments because he wants to impress Sita. Let me do this. Let us build a huge temple, we say. Let us build a huge temple where nobody else in the world has built this temple. And so we want to have a flashy temple. Ravana, let me adorn myself. Maybe Sita will get attracted by all these ornaments in me. Right? Then he's accompanied by hundreds of women. Many of them his wives that he has won over battles. Some of them are daughters of the gods. Some of them are daughters of Gandharvas. Some of them daughters of the Devas, and so on. All of them. They are all accompanying him. Now they are all part of him, right? So he accompanies them to impress Sita. Maybe if she sees all these beautiful women who are craving for me, she might say, oh, there must be something in Ravana. Let me also join them, right? So in order to impress her, he brings he doesn't ask, they just follow him everywhere, I guess. I don't know. See, Ashokavana is, I believe, and Ravana and Valmiki mentions this, Ashokavana is strictly for women only. Only Ravana enters that. So, And it took me by surprise. I didn't know that. And it somewhere in this chapter, I think, or I might be getting ahead of myself, but nevertheless, I'll put it in there. Ravana alone is the only the male person who can enter. Otherwise, it's predominantly female energy. It's so, when I read that, it again takes my mind back to the Sri Chakra, where the Sri Chakra is full of feminine energies, all Devi's energies. So there is a kind of a similarity there, if you will. Accompanied by hundreds of women, Ravana goes to see Sita to impress upon her. And how are these women? They're all lavishly displaying. They have golden pictures. They're also in jewelry. They are in flowers. They're carrying flowers, perfumes, wine. Some of them are drunk, intoxicated. It is almost like he's carrying all his vasanas, impulses. He says, if Sita comes, I can enjoy all of this even more. That is the, we might think, okay, thank God I'm not into this. But look at us. We want God to make us more money. We want God to give us more health. We want God to protect our home. We want God to protect our children. And we think it is okay. It's not wrong. But this is what is happening. We are pulling the divine to satisfy where we are. Give me more ornaments. Give me more riches. Make my life more happy. Make my life and my relations live as long. My kith and kin, my loved ones should be very, very long. Live long, live long. And they should all be healthy. And we are grabbing things from the divine to do this exactly what Ravana is doing. He's going to Sita not to offer anything. He's going there to get her so that she can become part of all of this. And he feels that if she comes into his life, all of these riches and all of this he has more fulfillment. This is a learning. This is why Valmiki puts it in different. I don't know if Valmiki made these chapters or a great scholars did, but it's worthwhile. And we have to respect how we are given time for each of these segments, if you will, so that we study them and say, so much emphasis Valmiki has written on simply Ravana visiting Sita. That's all, 32 verses. Then what is it that I have to learn here? What is Ravana? Why is he going to Sita with all of this? What is he trying to do? Right? So, and how is that related to us? So you see, Ramayana in that sense is applicable even to this day and forever will be applicable as long as the I, me and mine is predominant in our consciousness. It is not about, now you notice I have not mentioned good and bad at all. We get into this weird good and bad and guilt and all of that. It's none of that. It is just a matter of fact. As spiritual, when the spirit has to evolve, the littleness, the little ego that has formed a little prison wall around itself has to break. Lanka cannot hold Sita anymore captive. It has to open for the Atma to go in. That's all. That's what Hanuman is doing. How beautiful is the story, and how beautiful and powerful are these revelations. Upon seeing the mighty Ravana, Hanuman hears the jingles and he hears, who's that? He looks up because he's waiting, right? He looks up, he sees Ravana coming. And then he looks at Ravana. Oh my gosh, now Ravana is walking, right? First time he saw him sleeping, he jumped back and went into another place because he got frightened a little bit. Here again, he looks at Ravana, and that mighty Ravana with all of these pretty women around him and all these ornaments and the power that Ravana has. So here Valmiki describes Ravana as the 10-headed Ravana. And I'll come to that in a second. So when Hanuman sees him, this 10-headed Ravana, he shrinks once again. Not out of fear. The word fear is not mentioned by Valmiki. But Valmiki says he once again shrinks and hides himself more under the leaves. Almost saying, wow, look at this power. I don't want anything to do with it. Away from it. The pure pranic energy, our jiva is not here to enjoy senses. So you have the ego, Sundar, I am Sundar, I am short, I am bald, I'm 60 years old, blah, blah, blah. All of this is the ego. But who is playing the role of Sundar? A jiva is playing. That is a soul. We call it a soul or a jiva. That jiva is going to go from one birth. So here he is Sundar. Next birth he could be Tommy, a dog in some priest's home in a temple so he can get to eat prasad every day. I don't know. So that jiva goes from one birth to another birth, learning lessons. The jiva, the soul, is not interested in these senses and all of this. It's learning. It is sitting, observing and learning. But Sundar somehow is built thinking Sundar is born, Sundar is important, Sundar is going to die, oh my God. That will happen. You can't stop that. The jiva is learning, the jiva gets lessons and moves on to another life. Is the jiva therefore everything? No. Then there is the Atma who is watching the jiva going through this. The Atmic energy is watching this game of jivas and all of these jivas going. Atma is the wave in the ocean. The jiva is the river. The ego called Sundar is the pond. Pond, jiva, river, going through hills and dales and mountains and valleys, finding its way to its source, learning with every birth, right? Expanding and eventually merging into the ocean. At that point, then it understands its identity with the wave. Atmic consciousness, and then the wave merges into the ocean, Paramatma. So that is what it is. So Hanuman here becomes our friend in jiva. He is the soul. He doesn't like anything to do with the senses. He moves away. He says, no, this is not what I'm come from. So he's the awakened being, the self-realized being who understands that this life is a role. I am playing a role as a Sundar. I am playing a role as Hanuman. And so that is the beauty there. And that is how we have to understand this. There's a lot more to explain, but I'm just opening your minds to think in these directions. Okay? And Ravana's sole intention was to to impress Sita, possess Sita, because she is youthful, she is beautiful. Because when there is spirituality in the being, there will be youth and beauty forever. Spirit is youthful and beautiful forever. We learned this in Dakshinamurti. The Dakshinamurti is forever young, forever beautiful. He smiles and everybody gets illuminated in his presence. So that is what it is. In Sita's presence, there is so much power. But because Ravana is so covered by the mamakara, he says, what can I get from her? Oh, she is beautiful, so I want the beauty from her. So when we approach Lakshmi, for example, goddess Lakshmi in our prayers, the goddess of prosperity, we say, please give us more money. Why not ask for her and get lost in that devotion and don't worry about this idea of money and prosperity? When she is in your home, in your heart, in your consciousness, why do you have to worry about anything else, right? But we rarely think about that. We feel we have to ask, otherwise she will not give. Because we apply that principle that we experience in everyday life. Unless I ask, I don't get. We apply that to divinity. Let's think on those lines. Ashokavana. Now I want to end this with this short homework for all of us. As I finished this, I came across this part and I said, Valmiki has given so much importance for Ravana's entry into Ashokavana. He also gave a lot of emphasis on Hanuman's entry into Ashokavana. In other words, into Lanka and then eventually into Ashokavana. So so think about what is the difference. Look at of course there is a great difference, right? How Ravana comes to see Sita, how Hanuman has prepared himself and come to see Sita. So what are the lessons we can learn from that? Something you could perhaps ponder over, contemplate upon, and think. And whatever comes to you, make a note of it because it's important. Who wins eventually Sita's favor? We all know Hanuman does. So pay attention to how Hanuman enters Sita. He has not yet spoken to her, but how Hanuman enters Lanka, how he approaches Sita, what he does when he sees her. And what has Ravana done? He's abducted her, he's put her in Ashokavana, but he is now approaching her also in all his grand glory, I, me and mine. So there's a lot to learn. The learning never ends in this divine game called life and death. We learn in life, we learn in death as well. And with every birth and every death, the jiva continues to learn. We are all eternal. Nobody dies. Let separation not fool us into thinking that that person has finished and is no more. Yes, the ego part is no more. Yes, the physical body is no more. But the soul continues in the journey. And if the person has lived a good life, know without any doubt that the soul is ready to take on from where it left off in a much better place. Because the journey is always towards the ocean. The river doesn't flow back to its source. It always goes into the ocean. So eventually we all are going to merge into the divine. So let us therefore bow to this divine energy of Hanuman and once again invoke him in our consciousness. So he teaches us this path, guides us in this path. Not only in this life, but all lifetimes to come. Let us mindfully receive the divine being Hanuman.
Om Bhuh Purusham Shri Bajranga Rupaya Shri Samba Sada Shivam Avahayami. Om Suvah Purusham Shri Maruti Rupaya Shri Samba Sada Shivam Avahayami. Om Suvah Purusham Shri Chiranjeevi Rupaya Shri Samba Sada Shivam Avahayami. Om Bhurbhuvasuvah Purusham Shri Ramaduta Hanuman Rupaya Shri Samba Sada Shivam Avahayami. Om. तथा विप्रेक्ष्यमाणस्य वनं पुष्पितपादपं विचिन्वतश्च वैदेहीं किञ्चिच्चेषा निशाभवत् षडङ्गवेदविदुषां क्रतुप्रवरयाजिनां शुश्रावब्रह्मघोषाश्च स विरात्रे ब्रह्मरक्षसाम् अथ मङ्गलवादित्रशब्दैः श्रुतिमनोहरैः प्राबुध्यत महाबाहुर्दशग्रीवो महाबलः विबुध्यतु यथा कालं राक्षसेन्द्रप्रतापवान् स्रस्तमाल्याम्बरधरो वैदेहीम् अन्वचिन्तयत् वृषं नियुक्तस्तस्यां च मदनेन मदोत्कटः न सतं राक्षसः कामं शशाकात्मानि गूहितुम् स सर्वाभरणैर्युक्तो बिभ्रच्छ्रियमनुत्तमाम् तां नगैर्बहुभिर्जुष्टां सर्वपुष्पफलोपगैः वृतां पुष्करिणीभिश्च नानापुष्पोपशोभितां सदा मदैश्च विहगैर्विचित्रां परमाद्भुताम् ईहा मृगैश्च विविधैर्जुष्टां दृष्टिमनोहरैः विधिः सम्प्रेक्षमाणश्च मणिकाञ्चनतोरणाः नानामृगगणाकीर्णां फलैः प्रपतितैर्वृताम् अशोकवनिकाम् एव प्राविशत् सन्ततद्रुमाम् अङ्गनाशतमात्रं तुं तं वज्रन्तमनुव्रजत् महेन्द्रमिव पौलस्त्यं देवगन्धर्वयोषितः दीपिका काञ्चनी कश्चिज्जग्रहुस्तत्र योषितः वालव्यजनहस्ताश्च तालव्रन्तानि चापरा काञ्चनैरपि भृङ्गारैर्जह्रुसलिलमग्रतः मण्डलाग्रान् वृषीश्चापि गृह्यान्यापृष्ठतो ययुः काचिद्रत्नमयीं स्थालीं पूर्णां पानस्य भामिनी दक्षिणा दक्षिणेनैव तदा जग्राह पाणिनाम् राजहंसप्रतीकाशं छत्रं पूर्णशशिप्रभं सौवर्णदण्डमपरा गृहीत्वा पृष्ठतो ययौ निद्रामदपरीताक्ष्यो रावणस्योत्तमास्त्रियः अनुजग्मुपतिं वीरं घनं विद्युल्लता इव व्याविद्धहारकेयूरा समामृदितवर्णिकाम् समागलितकेशान्ताः सस्वेदवदनास्तथा घूर्णन्त्यो मदशेषेण निद्रया च शुभाननाः स्वेदक्लिष्टाङ्गकुसुमाः सुमाल्याकुलमूर्धजाः प्रयान्तं नैत्रतपतिं नार्यो मदिरलोचनाः बहुमानाच्च कामाच्च प्रिया भार्यास्तमन्वयुः स च कामपराधीनः पतिस्तासां महाबलः सीतासक्तमना मन्दो मन्दाञ्चितगतिर्भवौ ततः काञ्चिलिनादं च नूपुराणां च निस्वनम् शुश्राव परमस्त्रीणां स कपिर्मारुतात्मजः तं चाप्रतिमकर्माणम् अचिन्त्यबलपौरुषम् द्वारदेशमनुप्राप्तं ददर्श हनुमान् कपिः दीपिकाभिरनेकाभिः समन्तादवभासितम् गन्धतैलवसिक्ताभिर्ध्रियमाणाभिरग्रतः कामदर्पं मदैर्युक्तं जिह्मताम्रायते क्षणम् समक्षमिव कन्दर्पम् अपविद्धशरासनम् मदितामृतफेनाभमरजो वस्त्रमुत्तमम् सलीलमनुकर्षन्तं विमुक्तं सक्तमङ्गदे तं पत्रविटपेलीनः पत्रपुष्पघनावृतः समीपमिव सङ्क्रान्तं निध्यातुमुपचक्रमे अवेक्षमाणास्तु ततो ददर्श कपिकुञ्जरः रूपयौवनसम्पन्ना रावणस्य वरस्त्रियः ताभिः परिव्रतो राजा सुरूपाभिर्महायशाः तन्मृगद्विजसङ्घुष्ठं प्रविष्टप्रमदावनम् क्षीभो विचित्राभरणः शङ्कुकर्णो महाबलः तेन विश्रवसः पुत्रसदृष्टो राक्षसाधिपः वृतपरमनारीभिस्ताराभिरिव चन्द्रमाः तं ददर्श महातेजास्तेजोवन्तमहाकपिः रावणोऽयं महाबाहुरिति संचित्य वानरः अवप्लुतो महातेजा हनुमान् मारुतात्मजः स तथाप्युग्रतेजाः सन्निर्धूतस्तस्य तेजसा पत्रगुह्यान्तरे सक्तो हनुमान् संवृतोऽभवत् स तामसितकेशान्तां शुश्रोणीं संहतस्तनीम् दिद्रक्षुरसितापाङ्गामुपावर्तत रावणः। इत्यार्षे श्रीमद् रामायणे वाल्मीकीय आदिकाव्ये सुन्दरकाण्डे 18 सर्गः।
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरनो रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फल चारि। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरा पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहे हरहु कलेश विकार। राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 राम। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 राम। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हर्षि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाँ ते कवि को बिद कही सके कहाँ ते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाए राजपद दीन्हा। राम 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 श्री राम 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 राम
लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु, लियो ताहि मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के देते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे देते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होए सिद्धि साकी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महाडेरा। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। राम 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 राम, श्री राम 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 राम,
समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. जय बोलो पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय. नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव.